Think About It Thursday, where we give you guys a little something to think about that'll help your babies live longer, healthier, and happier lives. I'm Jay.
I'm Adrian.
And together we are
the two crazy cat ladies.
This is sorry, guys. We are a little late jumping in because Madison was so cute. Did you guys see her in like the intro? For those of you guys on like Instagram and TikTok, on Facebook, there's this like countdown. But on Instagram and TikTok, look at her. She's so cute. So we were just like sitting there watching her. Anyway, guys.
Okay, today we're going to be talking about what to do if animal control comes to your house. And I have to say, this is going to be really hard to get it in 10 minutes because we had a really
big
intense
that happened
experience this weekend. And we're going to tell you a little bit about that to start out this little segment.
But I'd like to give a shout out to our team for this beautiful idea for our arts and crafts project or prop today. For this is
because we're like, we don't have any props for animal control.
What kind of props do you have for animal control? Okay, so let's get started with the story.
It's Sunday afternoon. We're in our backyard enjoying a beautiful day when our neighbor, and taking a course in cat health, when our neighbor comes to the door, panicked. We go to the door, we open it. She said, "Oh my God, animal control is here to take away my cat."
We looked at each other.
And we looked at each other.
And we ran
across the street, where we could see animal control was indeed parked. Now, what had happened was we had a neighborhood cat that was declawed before it ever showed up in their backyard. They had started taking care of this little kitty, and they have been for the last 6 years. And every now and then he's like an indoor-outdoor kitty, but he's basically a stray that has adopted them and their yard.
A declawed stray.
Declawed stray. So that's scary in a place that we have coyotes and all that kind of stuff. So they decided to bring their kitty to the vet for a checkup and just do some blood work.
Be good cat parents.
Right. All of that jazz. While they were there, they
were trying to restrain Frisky, is his name. Who's the sweetest cat. We cat sit for them. So we love this cat. But they were obviously the vets were trying to restrain a cat that has not been to the vet, maybe ever, but definitely in the last, well, obviously at some point because he was declawed. But in the last 7 years, 6 or 7 years, and so she is digging a hole in this cage. So. He bit. What defense mechanism does a declawed cat have other than their teeth?
Yeah. Side note is that is one of the behavioral issues that has to be dealt with a cat that has been declawed because they are defenseless, so they bite.
Right. Now,
Frisky bit.
Apparently, the rule here in Nevada or in Clark County, Nevada, is that if the vet is bit or the vet tech is bit, and they go to the doctor or whatnot, they have to report that to animal control. So animal control comes there to show up and quarantine, meaning take away the cat for 10 days into a shelter, is what they said.
Okay, and a side note is, I believe, and we've been looking into this, but I believe that quarantine rule, if a cat cannot show proof of vaccinations in whatever time period there is in your specific area, that 10-day quarantine period is pretty much across the board. And their choices were to quarantine them at the shelter or to pay for boarding at a vet clinic for 10 days.
And unfortunately, it was Sunday afternoon, late afternoon, and the vet clinics near us that we know and that we love and trust were all closed. So this really sparked interest in us, letting everybody know. We've had an experience with one of our beautiful, faithful followers in the past. Back in 2017, one of our VIPs had a similar situation where animal control was called on her because she was actually feeding her cats and dogs a raw diet, which ended very nicely. Luckily, it really depends on who is in animal control. So we want to start by talking about what animal control is, right?
Because I do think that for a lot of us cat-loving people, animal control may have a bad rap. You may have heard horror stories or heard a scary situation. Now, animal control is actually an agency of public safety, and part of their job is to help rescue animals, to reunite animals, lost animals with their owners. Yes, they do nuisance calls, but they also work with your local law enforcement. So it's really important for you to understand that they are going to be the ones that are going to be enforcing the law regarding your cat.
Yes, absolutely. So one thing is very important is that we have to, even in a very stressful situation, if your neighbor or your vet or somebody has to call or has called animal control on you, one of the best things that we can do is stay calm. Getting in front of the animal control, the officer's face, yelling at them, telling them to get out of your household, things like that. These are not great ways to handle, and it's not going to end as peacefully if we can't ourselves stay peaceful, right? Stay calm.
And remember that the collateral damage of this interpersonal human imperfection that can happen when people are heightened in a heightened situation, the collateral damage will be our pets. So this is why it's so important to remain calm and to really figure out what your options are. So this is why it's so important to be aware of the local laws in your area. And that is going to vary from county to county, state to state.
Yes, absolutely. But one rule stays true across all counties and platforms and states is that animal control cannot come into your house without a warrant. Okay, so if animal control comes to your house and says, "Hey, your neighbors called and said," or "I have they probably won't tell you that it's your neighbors, but somebody has reported one of your animals A, B, or C." They are not. They have to have that warrant in front of them and in front of you in order for them to actually enter your house. So it starts with a conversation. You have more rights than them when they show up, and we can discuss this. Right. That's why another reason why staying calm is very important.
Okay. Number two, especially since so many of us cat-loving people, we always say never adopt any more cats than you can responsibly care for. Understanding that in many areas there are laws about how many cats or dogs can live at a single residence. So make sure you know what those laws are.
Yes, make sure you know what those laws are. And for those of us that may not completely abide by those laws, let's just make sure that we don't tell everybody.
Well, and I think it's important that this is one of those things where it's, especially if you have indoor, outdoor cats, really important for you to know the laws. And if you have indoor, outdoor cats, really important to have good relationships with your neighbors, because we've heard terrible stories too about an indoor, outdoor cat who is a beloved family pet, but has done something in someone else's yard. They call animal control to come pick them up, and it is not a pretty situation.
Right,
so
exactly. Know where your cat is.
For those of us cat parents that do not have our cats annually vaccinated, that do our own protocols as far as vaccines, make sure you know what the law says. If you find yourself in a situation where your cat is so afraid that they do bite someone or they break the skin, what are the laws about that? Because and we'll conclude the story shortly, but very important that you know those laws as well.
Yeah, and another reason why to also, and we're going to be talking about this a little bit more in the coming week, but another reason as to why you also want to be able to partner with a good vet. See, in this specific situation, they didn't have a veterinarian. They didn't know a veterinarian. They took somebody, they didn't take our advice. They took somebody else's advice, and they went to a vet clinic that obviously wasn't very well versed in handling cats, because a fear-free facility, a facility, a clinic that is fear-free certified, will know how to calm down cats or know not to reach toward a cat that is in a heightened state of anxiety.
Right. And a lot of times those fear-free facilities will actually have separate entrances for cats and dogs. So you don't walk in and your cat is nose to nose with the dog that's barking at them and trying to get in their cage. Horrifying, right? So look into those things and ask if your vet, this is something that we thought was a startling statistic. Less than 15% of cats are seen by a vet annually. That is on us cat parents. We've got to do better about bringing our babies in to make sure that their health is good. And
but it also, but it also explains why many veterinarians are just not very used to having cats in their facility, because we as cat parents are not taking our cats annually to the vet. So they are not seeing as many cats. So they might not, they're also human, right? So they may not be used to handling cats on a regular basis. So these are all things that we need to consider when considering, could animal control ever be called on me? Because it could. Yeah, they could.
Yeah. I look at animal control as more of an animal advocate in so many ways. They can really do a lot of good. Our veterinarians, obviously, some of the most cherished people in our life. So we want everyone, advocates and professionals, to be part of our cat care team. And that's why it's so important for us to choose wisely, have good relationships, and understand the laws in our area, because there's a lot of things, as our neighbors found out, that are just out of their control. So to kind of end the story so that you kind of understand what's going on, because that did turn into a heightened situation across the street when they came to pick their kitty up. The cat was indoor at the time. If the cat had been outside, obviously
they would have just
picked him up and taken him away.
Well, if they knew
the
quest. What happened?
What happened was, after things got heightened and after the police were going to be called and all of this, it was basically asking, please just let us know what our options are in this specific situation, because the point is to make a decision that is going to be best for the animal involved.
Right.
And in this particular situation, the laws being what they are, there is an option to take a criminal citation,
which is basically like a traffic ticket. Traffic ticket. Right.
To take a criminal citation that basically makes a record of everything that has happened, and that is something that is then paid off.
Right.
Right.
So the options were to go to a vet that wasn't open at the time.
Yep.
Let the cat go with animal control to a shelter of unknown origin.
Well, no, they told us which shelter they were taking.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was Animal Funded.
Okay. So yeah, the kill shelter, or take a citation, and they opted for the health of their cat to take a citation and keep Frisky inside for the next 10 days. And obviously, you know, they would be breaking the law in a lot of ways if they let him out. So
he got his first litter
he
box.
got his first litter box inside the house,
And
we were
he's
able
doing
to help them. And he's doing great, and it actually worked out pretty good given the circumstances. But for Frisky specifically, the pet parents were able to take one for the team, if you will.
Yes.
So
you guys, think about it. We know that animal control can be something that's scary to a lot of pet parents, especially if you've got neighbors that you may not always get along with, and you've got indoor outdoor kitties. So just instead of being reactive in situations like this, take some time and think about what you would do in this situation, and be aware, make yourself familiar with the laws in your area.
Yeah, so that's it. Think
that's
about it Thursday. Come join us on our podcast. We are going to tell you all about a recent test that we took.
Yeah.
And we love you guys so much. We will see you very soon.
Happy Thursday. Bye, you guys.